You know, Queso is a perfect example of that song "Road Rage" of like how there is no fat shaming because Queso understands he's big. Like Queso understands that he's big. You know what I'm saying? I haven't listened. You know what's crazy? I never listened to this album. This is the first time I didn't listen to this album. But what I got to say about Eminem, man. First of all, let's get motherfucking, you know. Gotta give big ups to Eminem, man. This album was actually really, really interesting. I really enjoyed myself throughout the project. It was a little rough at the start. A couple first tracks were kind of just like bleh. But then as time kept going on, I really enjoyed what I was listening to. I would say from uh, where was it? I'm sorry. From I would say Evil or All You Got skit all the way through. I feel like that's when the album really got interesting. I love the theme of the album. Again, Death of Slim Shady. That's why at first when I was listening to it, obviously Brand New Dance is the worst album on the track. I mean, worst track on the album. I hate when I do that shit. I got dyslexia. But we got Broke as Fuck. Thank you again for another T1 sub, man. Happy, man. Thank you for all the subs today, man. You guys killed it. Double the goal. But Death of Slim Shady, getting rid of his alter ego. He has like five of them, but the main one being Slim Shady. Early 2000s, what originally made his career. And kind of having a back and forth all throughout the project. At first, it was a little confusing, but as you started to, you know, understand what he was doing with the theme, it all made sense and it all came together. All I was saying that I was is that I wish there was more Slim Shady going at, especially at the beginning, but more Slim Shady going at Eminem, and I think that would have been a little bit good for me. But then you get tracks to like Road Rage where he's talking about bigger people and how we have to cut it out and stop coddling people like that, and then you get tracks like um, Antichrist. They're going at whoever they're. I feel bad for Christopher Reeves. Christopher Reeves caught about 8 strays. Diddy caught about 8 strays. Caitlyn Jenner, or not Caitlyn Jenner. What's Bruce Jenner? What's his name or her name? The name. Bruce Jenner. He was catching strays as well. I loved how Eminem was tackling a lot of the topics of today and also just tackling a lot of the celebrities of today. It goes to show you that while Eminem is not in the media as much anymore as his past, he is definitely still paying attention, and it shows in his raps. His rapping ability is something that I never took away from him. It was always his production. The production has definitely stepped up. This is one of his better albums. I say this is better than the last two albums he dropped. Revival and that other shit that he dropped. I don't even know what the name of the last album was, but I feel like Houdini is definitely, or the Death of Slim Shady is definitely what Eminem fans, at least the OG fans that's kind of been listening to him for a long time, have wanted. Again, you guys gotta remember I'm 33, about to be 34 this year. I've been listening to Eminem since I was 8 years old. It's been a long ass time. So this is what I remember the Eminem for. Again, Houdini, giving us a reminder of exactly the tracks he used to make when he was, in his younger age with the blonde hair, buzz cut blonde hair. That was kind of remembrance of that. Brand New Dance was trying to. I feel like some of these tracks too, where he attempts to kind of capture that same moment and that same vibe, and it just doesn't really hit the same. I'm gonna blame that more so on the production because he's still doing the same style of raps, but I'm just gonna blame that on the production. But the one thing one of my subs said too is like he that I didn't like too personally is the fact that he was always talking about cancel culture, and I think that kind of Eminem is making that narrative up, or Slim Shady is making that narrative up, and I truly don't think that's the case. He is not being canceled whatsoever. I feel like Eminem is one of the artists, like one of the 100 or 1,000 people on this planet who can say whatever he wants. He could drop the hard R. I said that. He can drop the hard R and his career will literally not shift. It would not shift at all. He would shift some shit, but his career wouldn't shift. I still think he would be fine. That's how powerful and how much of a tie and strong bind he has on his cult fan base and his stan base. So he is the creator of the word stan. So it's kind of I feel like he just has so much power, and for him to kind of harp on this cancel culture topic, I just don't feel like it applies to him. And as much as he's trying to make it seem like it's a big deal, it's just really not. cancel culture really does not apply to him. So that was kind of probably one of the down things I didn't like. But everything else, again, he's speaking on a lot of shit, and he's using again the he's using the theme of the album to kind of allow himself to kind of get away with it, even though he's not going to get canceled, but kind of just like bouncing on the line back and forth. And I just feel like as Slim Shady, or as Eminem, whatever you want to call him, he it's good that he's kind of speaking on these things because there's a lot of things nowadays that do get out of hand. I already told you guys, Gen Z is one of the weirdest generations ever, bro. Gen Z is getting mad because they have to work 35 hours a week and they're only getting paid 7.50 an hour. Listen, I was a bag boy. I was getting paid 6.95. I did that for 5 years. All right. What I make now is definitely not what close to ever what I was gonna make as a bag boy, or even working at Publix. But it just goes to show you, like they're complaining about it, like it's not fair. We should be making $50,000 a year. I've seen the TikToks, man. It's real shit, and the TikToks literally have 500,000 likes. So that's a huge amount of people agreeing with that. If you like it, you agree with it. And so like I feel like we're just in a soft generation, a soft era, and I've spoken on that many times. There's a lot of shit that we're getting away with, a lot of shit that's being very loosely. You can't really speak your opinion because people like me, or not even saying people like me, but like people in the average or the average person would get canceled for saying anything in the sort. So it is amazing to see someone who has power like Eminem and who has this voice to kind of speak on the shit that should not be going the way it should not be going. I mean, it really is. Like, again, I don't like to really talk about it. I'm not a fat shamer at all or whatever, whatnot. I don't have any problem with the LGBTQ community. I don't have any problem with any of the shit. I always keep it to myself, which something Eminem said to himself as well. Keep that shit to yourself, bro. But there is a line when you see stuff like Miss Alabama winning shit like that's just the whole thing with the like. It's just, again, I'm always respectful to everybody, but when you get to shit like that where it's starting to kind of push the agenda on people, I've said that many times and I've gotten in trouble for it on my channel. I've took a hit or two a couple times, but I'm gonna stand on 10 and believe in what I say, and I'm gonna say it every time because it's true. If someone like Eminem is saying it, obviously, I'm not the only one that feels that way. It's crazy today, man. I'm 33 years old. I grew up in an era where it's like that, and where it was different from what it is now, and I feel like it's definitely gotten softer and it's definitely gotten more. I don't even know the word for it, but it's just getting out of hand, man. It's really getting out of hand. No one wants to work. Yeah, no one wants to work, but like you gotta work. I mean, everybody got to start at $7 or $8. It sucks, when you wanted to live on if you want to live on your own, or you have, some people have to live on their own, and your rent's $1,400 or $1,300. $1,200, and you got to get a roommate. You don't have the luxury of living by yourself as a Gen Z, living by yourself. You get a roommate paying $700, and then half your check goes to your living. That's when you got to buckle down and you kind of gotta grind and find out what's going to work for you to make money. You got to hustle. Adversity is when you find out who you really are, when your back is against the wall, when all the bad shit is going. Because when all the good shit is going, it's happy. Everybody's on your side. Everybody's giving you money. You're a good ass influencer. When everybody's against you, that's when you really find out what kind of person you are. And if you can strive through that adversity, that's why somebody has, for me, I always talk about mental health. Then at the end of the day, the only person you can really battle is yourself. That demon you fighting, you can lie to everybody, you can't lie to yourself. So that demon you're fighting is something that you got to handle within yourself. And so when I always see these influencers or whatever just going through some shit, hey, at the end of the day, no one's gonna help you, bro or girl. You got to go through that shit yourself, and that's when you really find out what kind of person you are, when you test yourself through adversity. So that's literally why I always talk about that, man. It's crazy, bro. This Eminem album is amazing, man. I love the topics that he speaks on. Again, this is his best way of kind of tricking people, or tricking the masses of being able to speak on what he wants to speak on, but at the same time covering it with a theme to make it seem like this is not Eminem, this is Slim Shady, And so I think that's actually kind of pretty cool. But yeah, I love also tracks, man. He got really emotional. Somebody Saved Me with Jelly Roll in there. I thought that was pretty cool. You get tracks like Temporary, man. Again, when he passes away, which is inevitable, he's gonna pass away sooner or later. It happens to everybody. That's circle of life. I just feel like he understands that, and to kind of give that track to his family members and to remember him by. Like, those are some heartfelt tracks. Again, I'm not really a fan of the poppy or an emotional Eminem, but I can always appreciate what Eminem does when he does that. Like, I can always appreciate how he expresses himself, and how he actually does make good pop bangers, through the test of time. He's done it throughout the test of time. But I got to say, man, big step up in production. Lyricism is always there, man. The Strays was insane. Please, if this is the last album, I don't know if he's gonna retire or not. But the death of Slim Shady is definitely, I would say, this is a good way to go out. Like, this is a great way to go out, man. This album is actually really cool. This is the one of those albums, like, okay, you've been chasing this album for a long time, to kind of have some closure, I would say, because you don't need money. Well, everybody needs money, but you'll need more money. But you got this album now where I feel like, damn, this could actually make some noise, because it's not as I would say cringe as those last two albums. The production feels well put together. I feel like Dre was on a couple of these tracks, producing them, especially in Houdini. There's another one on too that he was like, you could feel it, but not a lot of features as well. And yeah, man, it's just Eminem in true Eminem fashion. How can you really hate it? You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about it. And get the comments below. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to follow me on social media. Full video is on Patreon. Always, man. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you guys for supporting. Until the next time, we are out. YouTube. Stick around for Elden Ring. Peace.